So uncivilized.
Greetings and welcome to Uncivilized Scoundrel. It's your boy LR bringing you the best in just content in general, Star Wars all day. And I'm here with my co-host, El Profesoro, Mario himself, and the rest of this ragtag bunch. We're just going to jump in. How's everybody doing tonight?
Greetings,
Yo!
What is going on?
What is happening, y'all? Glad to be here tonight, talking this next episode. And
yes.
We got some stuff to just talk about, man. Dude, I still love that intro, man. I kind of wanted to play it back.
Okay. So look, if he asks, he shall receive. We gonna play the intro again.
So uncivilized.
That's what you call an intro, man. Like that's what you call an intro,
man.
Like straight up, like
dude.
that's the intro. Like the thing is, it was like, yo, what was dope was the first time I let Vinny hear it. You know what I mean? Because it was like, yo, if I let him hear it, and if his head's nodding, I'm like, yeah, we got him. We got him.
No, it was so awesome. I mean, when we first started working on it, just to see general reactions, early reactions, man, it received so much positivity, dude. And it was dope.
Like everybody's loving it, man. So I am so happy, man. How's everybody doing though? How's everybody's day so far?
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. Happy to be home.
That's good, man. Definitely. We expected some, I guess, some crazy weather here in Vinny. Are we supposed to get some or no?
Tuesday is the next hiccup. I thought it was gonna be more today. I had to salt today, but luckily I had to go do a full removal today. But man, I barely slept last night because I guess kept waking up in case the storm was done. So I just kept waking up to check on it, and it was too warm, so it didn't really lay. But I'm kind of over the standby mode for snow. You can't even really enjoy, having a break when it's like constantly looking out the window to see what's coming, because it's been like, relentless. Every few days it's a threat. So, but that's winter in PA. So what are you gonna do?
While El Profesoro is sitting over there in like 70 degrees, 80 degree weather over there, bro?
It actually hit 80 degrees today, man. I'm like, yo, it's kind of warm out here, man.
See?
Oh, man.
We've been in like
I'm trying to like get out of town for a minute, and it was like, I'm afraid as soon as I leave, it's gonna be snowing here. I'm gonna have to come back. So it's frustrating.
Dude, you got to come out to the west, man.
Yeah.
You got to come soak up this California sun, dude. I'm telling you.
Yo, the best.
Must be nice.
Man, come on. It must be nice. Man. Like, straight up, we over here suffering. Everybody's catching the cold and everything over here, man. Like,
But dude, I'm so curious about you guys' weather. I've never been in that type of environment, man. I mean, it looks so nice and glamorous on TV and all the Christmas specials and this and that. But I understand, what you guys talk about.
What?
I can imagine like shoveling snow and all that.
Let me tell you something. You know how everyone always likes to make fun of Philly fans for being mean and New Yorkers for being mean? It's the weather. It does something to you. It makes you tough because you have to be on your toes. It's nice, and we're in Central PA. It's nice here about maybe a cumulative like 3 weeks a year. We don't really get spring. We don't really get fall. It's either hot or cold.
Yep.
And there's no in between. It's always fighting. You either fighting the heat or fighting the cold. It's a struggle.
Yeah. So daggone pissed about everything, like straight up. Like you're pissed because it's freezing. Like you straight up, like if you see somebody outside just swinging their arms and it looks like they're fighting the wind, it's because they're pissed. Like it's that cold, bro.
Yeah.
Like literally.
I'm always waiting for summer to come. So even if it's like January, like now, I'm like, oh, it'll be warm soon. So
I love the heat because I'm a landscaper, so I'm acclimated to condition to the
Oh,
hot. So
nah,
I'm
man.
good with the heat. So I'm good with the hot. It almost
You can
can't get
have
too
that.
hot for me. But the cold,
Yeah, bro.
it's just not fair, man.
You know what? And the thing is, it's like I'm telling you, and when it's cold in the wintertime, it's not good to be ashy because you itch. Like straight up, make sure you
Yeah.
it's full body lotion before you step outside because that when it
Mm-hmm.
sticks to that cold sticks to your skin, it's just like
Mario,
you just
you have
automatically
no idea
know.
what it's like to
I
not
don't.
want to leave to go
Your house,
anywhere
yeah.
to do nothing because
Yeah.
you don't want to step outside and that cold hit
Mario-
you like a drop kick to the chest.
Yeah, Mario.
So it's
you know,
like this is my break where I have off unless it snows. But
Yep.
like nobody wants to do shit. Ain't nobody trying to go hang
Nope.
out. It's
Nope.
cold. Nobody wants to leave the house.
Hey,
Shit, my
hey,
house
I
is
mean, the worst we get if it's raining, if it just rains a few inches,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I ain't stepping out here because, God forbid, we get like a quarter inch of rain, and it's like the world is ending out here, bro.
Yeah.
It's insane.
yeah.
Bro,
So
Mario,
everyone forgets how to
like you,
drive, there's much
on the
like-
East Coast, when you're in the car driving, bro, and it's cold, it's especially early in the morning, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, you driving, bro. If you look around and you see everybody pissed off, they don't say what's up, they don't say hi. It's like literally,
Everybody just knows. Huh?
they just,
Yeah.
yeah, they just straight up, bro.
They just
Especially if-
conserving energy.
Yup.
You just conserve
Mhm.
energy.
Yep.
That's
Nobody's
Yeah.
excited, man. Like it's like, you know what? Literally, bro, we live in Hoth. This is Hoth.
Like that. Wow.
Like literally, this is
but we
Hoth.
don't have the cool base.
Yep. Like we be like, yep. Like you need anything
No
from the
echo
store?
bass,
It's
bro.
too cold out to go out to the store. Well, then I'll see you in hell.
Yeah. That's
Nailed it.
Yes, that's the way it is, bro.
Oh, that's
Straight
dope.
up, like it's that way, bro. Like
Yeah,
Like,
straight
Vinny, get the Tauntaun out the garage, man. Go
You
to the
know?
store.
up. Straight up.
Even
Hey
the
yo,
Johnson doesn't want to go out now.
so
Oh,
I'm not gonna
man.
tell you that these cats mean me. Like one winter time, I was outside
Yeah.
shoveling snow, and I got memed. They put my face on Luke's face on the Tauntaun, bro.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I can't find it. If I could find it, I would actually put it up. It's so silly, but yeah, that's funny to me, man.
Shout out to
Anyway.
DoorDash because that saves a lot of us. Now
Yeah.
we just have them come
DoorDash,
to the
yeah.
crib. DoorDash, yeah.
I hope
Yep.
they're paying these people like extra on top of it, considering what they got to go through just to help
Yeah.
y'all out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah,
in those
I'm
conditions,
telling you.
but
It is, bro.
Yeah,
like
man.
they definitely. But you know what? DoorDash, they be out here, winter, sleet, or snow. I mean, they don't
Right.
care, bro.
And I'm
Yeah.
really
They-
impressed with the ones who are like on bikes in the winter.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Do you realize how cold
Wow.
it is right now?
They making that money,
No,
man,
how are they getting around on bikes?
bro.
I-
Because
I
they
can't-
can. Because the thing is, and especially New York, bro. They always clean up the bike strips, like spade up. Like if they have the bike routes, it's always clean for them because they know that they depend on a lot of deliveries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Location, businesses, and
Yeah,
stuff like
okay.
that. They make it a safe zone for them. Now, how safe they are when they're actually riding those bikes is a totally different story.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
they make it safe for them though. It is what it is. Anyway, let me address the chat. Make sure we got everybody in here. We got Max Geekdom, the Ben Cave, Mark 7, the issue. It's like 18 degrees right now. Like, why?
What up, Mark?
It is, bro. It cuts. It cuts like straight
Oh
up.
man.
Doc Smith on the building. We got Malachi Mabane, Tobar, CC3PO. Now CC is not feeling well, everybody. So
Get
give a
better,
special
CC.
shout out to her. She basically hit me up yesterday. She told me she's still feeling it, but she said she's going to be in the chat. So we know you here in spirits, and we'll have you here next week. Well, as a matter of fact, if you're watching, just hit up Boba and ask him, can you borrow the back the tank? Like on me. And just jump in and hopefully it just takes everything away. But anyway.
Yeah, CC, we want to hear about your flashbacks when you come back, all right?
Straight up. Yeah, give us your flashbacks.
Yeah,
We
grab
got
an IG 11 and get some back to spray. Whatever works.
Right. We got Jan Michael Jameer in the building. Luminar 843 is in the building. Thank you for coming through. It's Louis Lebitz. I Am Legend 0000 is in the building. We have let's see here, Absolute Irwin, Benny Gregerson, the Ben Cave. We have the Russian bot. We have Ray C, cool shirt layout. Yes, man. Thank you very much. Love it. My daughter got me this one Christmas. So
You
thank
guys should
for
see
that.
Vinny's.
Yeah, Vinny's is crazy.
Yeah, I got Chewbacca.
He got Chewbacca on his shirt. Crazy shirt.
Vinny
That's
gonna rip
what's-
people's arms out of their sockets.
You know,
Saying
and
how
just
cold it is, dealing with this cold weather.
Straight up.
let the Vinny win.
Let the Vinny win. Casey Toys is in the building. Let the Vinny win. Marvelized Reviews is in the building. Leon Walker is actually here. OG fan with Star Wars was just Star Wars in the building. Thank you for that. Two Ferns is here. Primetime reviews. Takathri. Man, it's going to be a lovely night, a lovely evening. Definitely. And so, listen. All right. So we got episode 1, episode 2. Great. Episode 3, not so much. We hit episode 4, and we only have 3 episodes left of this actual season. So, I mean, listen, all around feelings about this episode. I'm gonna say I loved it. It was tricky in the beginning. It was tricky in the beginning. I was like, I mean, we can do without T-Pain, man. Like, it's like straight up, we didn't need we can do without that. But I mean, other than that, I did literally thoroughly enjoyed the show. For what we got. And it did it explained a lot, of what it was for Boba, his intentions in a sense. Also, we got a chance to see, the meeting between him and Fennec, and how that bond came to be. And, basically, we see that, we see a side of Boba that's really noble. You know what I mean? Like, he believes in honor. He believes in loyalty. I just hope that we can get a mix of that with, like, just some brutal ruthlessness, bro. I just need to see some of that. Ladies first. What did you think all around before we jump in? What do you think about the episode?
Well, to be honest with you, I think good things come to those who wait, and we've been patient with this series, and there have been surprises and things that we didn't expect to see and things that we were looking for. And this episode actually had a lot of things we were looking for, because, a lot of people were asking questions about where is Slave One? We wanted to know how he came across Fennec.
Fire spray.
I'm calling it the indentured servitude 1.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, also the idea of how was he going to bring everybody together so that he had them on his side and that he would be ready when this war that we're waiting for is going to break out. And it feels like we're a lot closer to that, especially since the last episode where it felt he was quite unprepared, didn't it? It didn't feel like he had any kind of direction. And these back to tank dreams have turned so sweet. He's dealt with the loss with the Tuskens, and now we got to see this incredible, a flashback of him meeting Fennec. He rescues the girl who ends up rescuing him, right? Yeah. Because he saves her. She's in the middle of nowhere. It's like a very gallant gesture. He could have left her there. He didn't have to go ahead and save Fennec, but he saw the value in her, not just as a person and someone who needed help. And he actually offered her something that I think a lot of women would love. A man who's going to have your back no matter what. Mm-hmm. And I think that is really attractive. Like, if Boba Fett came up to me, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm down. Fine. Yeah. I'm good. Yeah, you got me.
I'm all in. You got me. We good. We good.
So I think that's a very interesting approach. And I have a feeling that no one has probably ever even said that to Fennec. So we're seeing two bounty hunters who, have never experienced something like this before. He's creating a family now. Yeah. And he's the one calling all the shots. No one's telling him, I need you to go do this job here. I need you to go do this there. He's like, screw this. I'm calling the shots. This is what we're going to do. And I love how she's like, you know what? I might stick around. I might stick around with this guy. This guy's kind of impressing me. I'm going to stick around him a little bit longer, even though I've already paid my debt to him. I have a feeling that he has a lot of a great future ahead of him. And I think that confidence that Fennec is showing in Boba is the same confidence that a lot of us have kind of gotten a little bit back from some of the things that we hadn't seen about him. We're learning a little bit more about him. They're actually building a relationship, which we needed to see. We needed to see him get tight with somebody and why and how this thing occurred. She kind of like went really on her own will. She could have left. She could have left him out there, but she's like, you know what? This guy's very different. Something is different about him. I noticed that. I'm sure that she's been left out in the dust by other bounty hunters that she's had to work with. But this guy, he stuck around, and, she noticed that, and it changed. He's changed, but perhaps it's even changed Fennec too.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree. I agree. Like, the camaraderie between them both. And you could tell, like, she's really, really protective of him. You know what I mean? She's very protective of his interests, but at the same time, it's almost like she understands that there are he is experiencing a tad bit of shortcomings when it comes to and on top of that, what I loved about one particular scene that we'll talk about here in a little bit is the simple fact that now we do understand that she's told him like you need a bapta tank after coming out of the acid, and also we understand now that their internal damage as well has been done. So I like that explanation, but you can tell that she's really starting to care for him in a sense where she cares for his well-being. She cares that she wants him to succeed by any cost. You know what I mean? Regardless of how she feels that, he might be a tad bit soft, that he needs to kind of assert his position. She's just there for him. She got his back, and she's formidable. Like, I don't think there's any other bounty hunter I would want by my side, but her, because she's incredible. She's a beast. But yeah, Vinny, what did you think about overall, man?
Yeah, I didn't get to talk about it last week, so there was a lot of pressure on this episode after last week's, most Vespa controversy with all the stuff that they had going
most
on.
Vespa,
and they had. I don't feel like last week's was that bad. It just had finished on such a sour note, and this episode, it kind of like got the, if you would call it, the silly stuff out of the way in the beginning, and then finished more strong. The episodes seem to be like very pendulum based. There'd be a lot of like really cool things that happen, and then some stuff that like it's pretty clear that a lot of people might have issue with as far as it being interesting or action packed enough. I feel like there's a lot of great stuff to pull from every one of these episodes so far. Tonight was the current episode is definitely Fennec's chance to shine, and she got busy. She was amazing the whole ep, and we got to see the slave one, the fire spray, the indentured servitude one, the 13th Amendment one, whatever you want to call it. We got to see that in action, and that's Starship. yeah, but Mama called it slave one, I'm gonna call it slave one. They all that aside, like it, we got to see a lot of really cool stuff in this episode, and it's put into perspective to me. A lot of what we're seeing in the show's criticism is just, I don't think it's so much the fallings of this show. I think, especially with the way the show ended, I think that every criticism and rush to judgment that we've seen with this show so far should really just be counted as how spoiled we were with Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And the irony that for those of us who always wanted to see Boba Fett in action and got Mandalorian, and we were like, why are they doing some random Mandalorian character? And then by the time that show got rolling, it was like, oh, okay, cool, Boba Fett's going to be on this episode. And it was just, icing on the cake. It was we already were loving it. Mm-hmm. Flip it, and now the excitement for possibly seeing Mando on this show is like, all right, now it's going to be great, as opposed to like he's going to come and save this show in a way where he was just something extra for Mando's show. Yeah, the fact that they were able to flip that, what that tells me is how Disney has gone about Star Wars since they've acquired it. Seems to be, I feel like they're going to be at their strongest when they're handling properties that aren't the OG characters. Yeah. And we already have in our mind who Boba Fett is, what he's done, how badass he is, who Luke is, what he's done, how badass he is. And then when they do anything that doesn't match up with that, it throws everybody, and it's hard to accept with somebody like Mandalorian or Kylo. When they do cool shit, it's just cool shit, because that's all new to us. We don't already have in our heads who Kylo is or who Mandalorian is. So all that stuff is so much easier to digest, because it's like, okay, let's see what they do with it. But with Boba, we just want to see Boba doing Boba shit. Yeah. And they're trying to build a lot of character building with them. So I'm trying to take all that into perspective to clear my mind of all the shit, from the books and shit I know about Boba Fett. Yeah. So I'm trying to enjoy this show for the good things that has brought us, and there's a lot of that. The real issue I have with this current episode is it really doesn't feel like the flashbacks have covered 5 years of time. Yeah, it feels like it's covered a few months. Yeah. So that I don't understand at all. But everything else about this current I loved.
Yeah. Before we actually get to you, Mario, shout out to Tom Jr. Jackson, he actually brought us a $5 super chat. This episode was what I thought the flashbacks would line up with meeting Fennec. Boba is starting to show he means business. Bring me more. I agree. I definitely agree. We need more. We definitely need more. So thank you for that. Yeah, Mario, what did you think, man? Like, what was your feeling?
Pretty much everyone on the panel nailed a lot of great points. Me personally, you guys know I'm not a fan of the flashbacks, so
Yeah.
I am hopeful this is the last one, considering that Boba is so fully healed.
Yeah.
It was
You know
so
what I
weird
mean?
how they
So-
made a point to point that out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think they were basically breaking the fourth wall, looking at the audience, like, all right, shut up, now we're done. So-
Didn't it? It really felt like
it kind of felt like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I wasn't much of a fan of that. It was cool to see the backstory on how these two actually met.
Mhm.
So now a lot of this, the entire series has been much of a roller coaster ride, up and down, as far as what we consider actually Star Wars and what
Yeah.
actually takes us out of the world building. Because I think they do such a good job as far as putting the world together.
Yeah.
We recognize the fact that he's back on Tatooine, but
Mhm.
it's just little things when they go to the what was it, the mod doctor guy or whatever like that just completely yanks us out of the universe,
Yeah.
and it just
doesn't feel like
stuff
it,
like
yeah.
that just doesn't belong. It was just
Yeah.
too it was just too much. It was overemphasized with the music, with the long montage,
Yeah.
putting her back together. It, in my opinion, it didn't need to be there.
Mhm.
So I mean, I'm not like crazy upset about it or anything like that. I was just like kind of let down.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole heist about him, getting the slave one back. The idea of it was pretty cool. There were some blunders in there, little nitpicks in my opinion that were there. What was cool though was seeing him go back to the Sarlacc and try to get his armor back.
Yeah.
That was really cool how they executed that. And there's a lot of fans in the community that are talking like, why didn't he know that he didn't have his armor? Whatever, I mean, he was fresh out of the Sarlacc pit. His
Yeah.
mind is, you know where his mind is at. So I'm sure he just completely,
Yeah.
just doesn't remember the fact that the Jawas just stole his armor.
he was
Yeah.
dying. He went back to the last place he's
Yeah.
seen in armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's possible that he felt like he had that armor on the whole time, but just when he comes to, it just doesn't realize it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like how they give us in the flashback a sense of where we're pretty much at in the timeline. I mean, you see him on the Bantha, and then it's at that episode right before Fennec gets shot, and suffering from the wound. So that was interesting to see. But yeah, like I said, there was a bunch of up and downs, things that they nailed, things that I felt they kind of missed, but I did enjoy it, overall for the most part. But
Yeah.
it's kind of a trip to see that that Mando has to come to kind of save this show, as Vinny mentioned. I'd hate to perceive it like that, but it's just kind of like where Boba Fett, I don't want to say actually elevated the Mandalorian show, but that was actually like a nice thing to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of a bummer that Mando has to come save the show. But I'm also curious as who else might show up.
Mhm.
So
Because
But
again,
yeah.
she did mention, and she asked how many credits he had left. He said, "Look, I have
Yeah.
plenty." She was like, what? Let's put them to use. Like, now, we know that people will work for credits. They'll take jobs. So it's going to be interesting to see who they call. I think now they mean business. Now it's the recruitment. Now we're looking at the Magnificent Seven about to pop off. So
Yeah, because Bib Fortuna had like 50 guards, and he got like 4 dudes and a sandwich. You got to have more. You got to have more firepower there. I mean, like when they're on town, it's like, wait, who's back at the palace protecting everything? The whole squad is right there.
Yeah.
what do you guys think about the anorexic looking Gamorrean guards? I mean, they just look like they're starving, like they haven't been fed in a while.
I think it's
look
like
more
they wanted
ferocious.
to make them more
They look more
useful
like fighters, though. Yeah.
and more fighters. Yeah, I think that they wanted to actually go that route because you're right. We're not seeing, but on top of that, we're not even seeing them fully armored at all. You know what I mean? There's no armor. It's just them. So it is an interesting take on how, basically they are showing these Gamorrean guards, like their take on the Gamorrean guards. question, and I'm gonna ask this question. Just interesting, and I'm pretty much everybody out there. You know, just to see what you think. There's somebody else that's on Tatooine that we could possibly see again. Someone who took his armor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, do you think that we could actually possibly see Cad Vanth again? Cod Vanth? Do you think we might actually see him in another episode? You think he might reach out to him, or if anything, he might reach out to Boba saying, "I want to be a part of this fight." You think something like that could happen?
No.
No.
I mean, how does Cobb Vanth know Boba's existence? I mean, he's got the armor, but I mean, did it really come off that he knew who Boba was, who this armor actually belonged to when he had it?
Right.
Because from what I remember, it didn't seem like there was no frame of reference where he actually knew who the character was.
Mm-hmm. He just
know?
knows of the
It just-
armor.
Yeah, it just
Right.
looked cool to him while he was in the Jawa.
Exactly.
And the thing is,
Exactly.
I think that they're as the audience, as they're basically expecting the viewers to put those pieces together to think that, you know, he has the armor, so someone in that town had to let him know who that armor belongs to. That story had to be shared.
I would prefer they might, of course, anything is possible, but I would prefer they didn't, as opposed to just doing callbacks to Mando like they just did it the last episode with him finding Fennec. So I wouldn't really consider Cobb as bringing necessarily anything to the table other than a plot device to get Boba Fett's armor back to him.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, this is the dude we got to have to, draw people in. I don't think anybody is like, man, you know what this show needs is Cobb Vanth. I don't, personally. I mean, he might have a bigger following or fan favorite than I realized.
We didn't think we would get the Vespa gang, but we got them.
Yeah, and how'd that work out for him?
Exactly.
It's like, now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they won't do it. I'm saying I wouldn't personally care to see it.
Well, see, here's the thing, though.
For me.
Now that you're saying that, and this is going to be unpopular, it's very an unpopular opinion. I don't even want to see Din Djarin here. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him brought in because then you're catering to the fact that you're leaning on that particular character to make this show successful. Like you said, Mo, I don't want to see that. I want to see Boba stand on his own and maybe bring in the other bounty hunters that we haven't seen in action yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
that's what the irony of Mando's possible appearance on this show is like, okay, now we know that's the episode where they're going to be kicking ass. Instead of just making Boba Fett kick ass like he can. And I know we got, him taking out the biker gang with the ship and everything, but we also want to see, him, put in work with his suit and be more aggressive in combat too. And like you said, there's other callbacks to tons and tons of Star Wars bounty hunters that they could bring in. We all want to see Cad. We all want to see maybe Bosk or somebody like that before we see Cobb before it would make sense for Mando, really, because you would think that Mando's like doing whatever else his own thing, and there's so many other players that could be around that it would make more sense for. But I don't know. It's really frustrating because with Mandalorian, it was there was a lot of, he had so many, I don't know if you want to call them feats by this point in his show where it was like, oh, like, wow, he's badass. And they constantly reminded us over and over again how formidable Din was. And I feel like just simply showing us that with Boba Fett would appease a lot more people than having to bring other people in to help, rekindle the interest for the show.
Definitely. We got a $5 super chat by Tobar. Why did Boba go back for his armor? Didn't realize he didn't. He did. He had it on, and when he escaped, that didn't make sense to me. I get it. I think possibly Tobar, like maybe he, in the amount of pain in complete delirium he was going through at that point of just getting out. Suffocating, no air, because I don't even think he realized that he was out of the pit at that point. He just climbed out and just laid there. That was it. Passed out in the sand. So I don't know. I mean, again, we're talking.
He was
Disney,
like
Disney.
4 or 5 feet from the Sarlacc pit, and then next thing he did was wake up without the armor. So for all intents and purposes, he might have thought the wind or the storm or the Sarlacc pit itself, it might have just flushed back down into its mouth. Yeah. I mean, that's the last place he looked for it. I mean, if we drop our keys outside the car, we're gonna go check our driveway, and that's the first place you're gonna look. I mean, it made sense to me that he would at least go back around the same, first, last place he's seen the armor is what I would do too. It made sense to me.
It did. It just didn't.
That's one of those. The characters in the show don't always have the luxury of what we see at home.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
It's fair enough to say that he knows. Boba Fett knows now how his armor got to. What happened with the armor. He knows that now. After the fact, because he found out from Mando, how he happened to come across it. And I'm sure Mando told him the story about how the Jawas had it. And I'm sure Boba was probably like, oh yeah, that's right. Somebody hit me in the face while I had my armor on when I was, maybe he remembered at that point, but in the flashback, and let's say maybe at this point, he doesn't know. So, he hasn't gotten to that point yet. So, but I'm sure eventually if someone were to remind him, hey, the Jawas picked you up and, and they managed to have your armor, he would remember that he got head butted or gun butted. What do you like the way they hit him in the face with the gun and then took the armor? I'm sure that jarred his memory when someone said the Jawas had your armor. So
I mean, again, it's it's Disney. So, but I get it. I mean, I do get the simple fact that, I just like to think that, it was so deep in the pit, you know what I mean? And then, again, they cannot think that we didn't know and we couldn't put 2 and 2 together, and that it wasn't predictable that the Sarlacc would actually attack the fire spray.
And of course, they had to have the special edition beak.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was
I didn't mind that.
What?
I didn't mind that, just like, look, I understand in the original cut that beak was non-existent.
Yeah.
However, I just felt like it added a little bit more character to the Sarlacc, and it was a change that I personally didn't mind. I get the negativity. I understand people's frustration with these changes to the movies, but I mean, I'm not saying it's for the better, but it's something that I personally didn't mind. Because at the same time, we see the Sarlacc thinking that he's dead, thinking that it's dead, and then all of a sudden that beak just comes out of nowhere. Yeah. So without that beak, it was a nice little addition to the actual Sarlacc itself. So.
Yeah, the Sarlacc forms a psychotic bond, and Boba is disoriented and is knocked out the second he opens his eyes. Worse than after a night in Tijuana. I mean, that's the thing. Like, hallucinogen and everything. Like, you never know. Like, we're talking about like that was pretty. And on top of that, he's in severe pain. How to muster that much energy getting out in the first place took a lot of, adrenaline and strength. So I don't know. I mean, but it served its purpose for what it was. You know what I mean? Yeah, so here's the thing. Like, all right, so with this, we did see, and the one thing I did enjoy was the vantage point. We see, him, pretty much, riding the bantha at night. He's eating with the bantha, and then all of a sudden he sees the flash. So that lets us know what was taking place from his vantage point when Din Djarin fired the
flares.
The flares. So it was good to basically see that perspective. The only thing that I was wanting that they missed, and it was just something really, really small, is that when he got off the bantha and was walking towards her, we didn't hear the spurs at all. Like, he didn't have the spurs. It was a small thing, but I'm just saying, like, I just love it. I want it to be, come on, like, just true to form.
Wouldn't that be
exactly
with his armor, though?
Huh?
Wouldn't that be with his armor, though?
But see, in that episode, we heard the spurs when he was walking towards her.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it would have been good to hear that. It's just like I said, a small little nitpick, whatever. You know what I mean? I just wanted to be cohesive with that episode that we saw. But other than that, I mean, I loved it. And it was just like, yo, like for some reason, do you think? Well, no. Now, I'm not even going to ask that question because apparently he didn't. But I just wondered, like, getting in his head, like, what made him really want to save her? Like, what was it that he felt as though he could save her or would be the one to save her? You know, why was he automatically vested in making sure that, she was taken care of at that particular point? That's the only question that I'm just trying to basically like fill out. I mean, he obviously there was some empathy and sympathy for her situation at that point, and he just felt as though she needed to be saved.
Well,
it seemed like he already knew who she was, because when after she was conscious, he did verify with her, hey, you're Fennec Shan, of whatever area of the rim, right? So and plus on top of that, he also has in his mind that he wants to get out of this business and start his own thing. Yeah. So for his own personal reasons, I think that's why he did what he did. Yeah. So yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. I think it's to add to what Mario was saying. I also think because she's by herself, she didn't have anybody with her. She's laying in the middle of the desert, bleeding to death. He's going to help her. I don't think that he would kind of turn away. And I think maybe he took the bright lights, the flares that he saw as a sign to do something. Nobody else was around. He obviously knew something had happened because he saw the flares. And he thought to himself, I have to help this woman. Now, only God knows how it was going to work out. What if he had gotten to the place to help, where they were going to repair her, and they said that they couldn't do anything? We don't know what the outcome was going to be. He didn't know. But, he was hoping against hope that he could save her. And then once he came to the realization of who she was, because, there was a puck out on her, right? Everybody was kind of hunting her down.
There's a bounty on,
So, he's not a fool. Like, I'm sure the person who was working on her was like, I know this is a bounty hunter I'm fixing. I know, I'm sure he knew something was up, because people probably don't just walk in there with such severe injuries and ask for that type of a repair. No questions asked, so to speak. So, there was that. But I think that, he realized what would his other alternative have been? He fixes her, then he turns her in for a bounty. Well, that bounty isn't really worth anything to him. She's worth more to him having her as an ally now.
Yeah.
Gains her as an ally.
In other words, she was no good to him dead.
She was no good to him as like a bag of coins.
Yeah.
I think he was like, oh shit, it's Chun-Li.
Oh wow.
Right.
And she's beautiful. I like to think
that helps.
Mm-hmm.
She's a beautiful woman, and she's very, I think she has a seductive sensuality about her, even though she's covered up from her neck down to her feet. She's still very charismatic and attractive. And he's wondering who on earth would kill this woman and leave her out to bleed in the middle of the desert when there's a bounty on her. Like, it's a very intriguing thing. It couldn't just be chance. It had to be fate that brought him to interact with her. And I think he also is looking at his life in a more fateful way too.
So let me ask you a question. Like, okay, so again, and I want to go back. I'm gonna probably go back and watch this episode tonight. Not this particular episode that we just saw, but I want to go back and watch Mandalorian. That one episode with the annoying wannabe Han Solo, part of the guild type of cat. Am I correct? Because I can't remember. Am I correct by saying Din Djarin did walk up and see her laying there? Did he see her laying there dead, or did
I don't think so.
He didn't.
He didn't. So basically,
I think he assumed she was dead.
He assumed that she was dead once, because I think Din Djarin went back, right? And that's when he. I got to watch the episode again because I vaguely remember.
I don't remember.
It's a weird thing in Star Wars now, because if you have a stomach gunshot wound and you're bleeding out, previously we would think that that means you're dead in the Star Wars universe. But now we have a better grasp of what a back to spray and tank means, of what mod parlors mean. So you know, I think before we always kind of assumed those were kind of what empire privileges or like very higher ups, that if it wasn't for, you know, somebody like the Emperor grabbing Vader, like you wouldn't think that or the rebellion having their medical team for Luke's hand. I don't think that you really. I don't know. I in my head watching Star Wars growing up, I always figured like that wasn't technology that would be available to people on the street, the common man.
Yeah.
So I don't think that all the different times we've seen somebody have their arm sliced off and chopped in half, that you would just assume, yeah, they'll be all right as long as they get to a mod parlor within 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, that adds a new perspective. They're going to have to do a lot better to, definitively maim or kill people off in the future if they don't want people to assume, oh, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
So considering Anakin had all those limbs chopped off, so Darth Vader's is technically a mod.
He's a OP mod.
Yeah.
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 I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, you know what? It's strange because
and
I'm
like
looking...
a shittier one than Fennec got, because she don't even breathe funny or nothing.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm just, because we know that they'll shoehorn episodes in to kind of connect to as connective tissue. So the last episode, we met the Vespa gang. They were modified, which I guess was to kind of hint that we were leading into Fennec's backstory of how she got modified. You know what I mean? Like, seeing that gang and now this particular episode of how he actually came in contact with her and he saved her life, I'm guessing was, the reason why that last episode was.
It was the catalyst for why he hired them.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm guessing, but I mean, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, and so okay, so they meet. Conversation, he tells her his agenda, and she helps him, break back into the actual palace, to get the I'm just gonna keep saying slave one. Slave one. That's what I know it as. Slave one. She helps him break back in the palace to retrieve slave one. Again, I like how they showed us Fennec's, like, her relevance and why she's important to Boba. And on top of that, why he said I need brains as well as muscle, and you have them both. Mm-hmm. Because she is extremely intelligent and handy. You know what I mean? Like, literally knows what she's doing. And it's like she was more formidable at that particular point at that time because all he had was the rifle and the bantha stick. You know what I mean? So there wasn't too much unguarded. I mean, I'm pretty sure, because a lot of people I heard they were talking, well, come on, Boba would have just made him. No, he didn't have his Beskar armor. Like, he literally didn't. He had nothing with him at that particular point. And on top of that, he was still kind of, he was hurt at that point. But again, she was more formidable because more tactical, and she, was able to help them kind of get in. Which I'm glad. And I told you, I was waiting for an episode like this. I was waiting for an episode to show us Fennec's worth and why she is extremely important.
And has Boba been a little bit out of the loop because he's been with the Raiders for a little while, and so hanging out with them for a year or however long he was with them, a lot has gone on since that time. And however, Fennec has kind of like been more in touch with what's been going on in the galaxy. So she, not only does she bring her skills and her intelligence, but also just information about what's going on with the Republic and all things like that. So that's another consideration.
Yeah. I mean, I love this episode mainly because, again, it was important for us to really see how their relationship really developed. So I was really thankful for that. A few annoying pieces like that kitchen scene. I hate it. Like, I really.
Yeah, that's tough.
You don't like the callback to Grievous with that chef?
Yeah, I was waiting for him to say hello there.
I like the chef, And I like the simple fact that we got to call back the Jedi with the droid and everything as well. It's just that little him chasing that thing it just held zero relevancy for me. Like it wasn't
was goofy.
needed. It was really, really goofy. Like he didn't need it at all. And then for him to say you know a little bugger at the end, it was like, come on, man. Like
he grabs him by the neck. He says, "Don't you know who I am? I'm Boba Fett." And then it just shuts down. It's like, come on, dude.
Like, come on. Like, what was
it was too much.
It was way, way too much, and like they didn't need that part. But
the hangar scene was spectacular.
Yeah. That hangar scene was dope. Like I loved that. And the simple fact that Fennec was getting busy. Like she was just like a one army, one woman army. Like you know what I mean, just going in and wrecking shop, which is why I'm getting 3. But yeah, like I mean, it was important. Yeah, you already know that, bro. I chose him getting 3. Already paid off.
We'll C's comment where it says the kitchen scene is a callback to Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Nailed it. You nailed it, man.
Yep.
That's exactly what it was.
It was a callback to Tom and Jerry. I guess he's a fan. So, you know, we had to get that. But I mean, I guess again, it was nice to see again, also, because we had been asking for so long, where is Slave One? Like, where is it and where does he keep it? Now we know. Now we know where it's at. It's in a hangar. There's an actual hangar in Jabba's palace, and that's where they basically keep, the ship. Now, why they don't have a speeder, I'd have zero idea. Like, there should be some type of a speeder in that palace that helps them get along instead of them walking from the palace.
Matt, anything that you got to go to and from with that palace, that's a long ass hike.
But that's a super duper hike for reasons that I
that's
don't
why I was clowning the twins going there. Like, how long must it took them to get there? That ranker would have been dead on the way.
Straight up.
There's some really odd things. It's tough because there's tie-in moments that are clearly well planned out. Boba Fett and Fennec was a seed planted in episode 5. In first season of Mandalorian that they didn't even answer, and it was they wrapped everything up at the end of that season for the most part, except who was that shadowy figure? And it was cool that that was that long of a payoff, and so that you have well thought out stuff like that, and then you have other things that it's just they won't they ain't gonna care. It's just Star Wars. It's and there's it's true you have to go into any show like this with a bit of suspension of disbelief, but there's also give us a little bit more of practical applications to how you go about your storytelling in the episode. I still can't wrap my head around how it makes sense that 5 years have passed in the show. It just doesn't make sense as far as the flashbacks are concerned, because they're very clear that that's how long it's been since Return of the Jedi at the beginning of Mandalorian. And it doesn't seem like he was with the Tuskens for 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's with the Tuskens for maybe a year or so, and then just been wandering the desert for a few more years up to the timeline where he's at right now. Yeah. In the flashback. So, I mean, you're right. They really didn't do a good job as far as explaining exactly where he's at in the timeline. Yeah. So I think some little stamp of, 2 years later, 3 years later, or something like that.
Would make sense. That would make sense. I mean, and the thing is, it's they're not showing his entire stint with the Tuskens. They're just picking pieces and episodes that are relevant to the narrative at that point. Yeah. So they're not going to show us, which does make us feel like it was a shorter time period, than what it appears to be. You know what I mean? So,
but even the kid was a kid the whole part of his time on air. So they didn't even have the kid grow up. So that led I would assume that would lead you to believe that it was only a matter of, less than a year that he was with them. But who knows? It's one of those, it's a nitpicky thing, but it's odd because they clearly are making it a point to show a period of time passing. But this is one of those things. There's bigger fish to fry, but it's just one of those things that are odd that they didn't surmise better.
It's normal. It's absolutely normal single songwriter, straight up, because
especially this time of year. So just hang in there, brother.
Yeah,
it's gonna be rough.
Straight up, it's gonna be super duper rough. But now I was happy about this though. I was definitely happy about this particular scene.
Yes,
Um,
I love
like
that.
literally,
Yeah.
like yeah, the mighty chrysanthem.
I love that he didn't have any reason to do what he did. He just was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't fuck with him. They weren't being, you know what I mean? They didn't spill a drink on him passing through. They didn't do nothing to him. He's just sitting there, just hot. He was tight. He was tight. He was pissed
Word?
off.
I'm gonna
He
rip
was
this
looking for a
into
reason.
shreds.
Yeah,
Well,
he
he
was
had
looking for a
reason.
reason.
He had reason.
No, well, no, I heard that the actual Trandoshans were
They enslaved the
enslaved
Wookiees.
the Wookiees.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he had
You know,
reasons to
so
because
yeah,
they
just
That's
see
right.
them
That's
the
right.
whole
Yeah.
time that triggered him.
exactly
Right.
because even in the books it was basically harkening back to enslavement with the Trandosians and how
I wasn't
basically
even thinking of
they
it like
used
that.
all the Wookiees for sport.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
just basically what it was. Bet on the Wookiees to win in different tournaments as gladiators, as you know, they were enslaved for like strength and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Just like he would, you know what? Like he would have beef with the Trandosians and the Pikes as well.
Mhm.
Like straight up. Like he has reasons to have, you know, grievances with both. So it
See,
was automatic
I have
for
some,
him to
I have some of that stuff. I gotta catch up on reading it. Like it's just,
Yeah.
I just gotta catch up on the reading. No, all right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, like he was sitting in that's the thing. Like when he was looking at them and they were gambling, he was just thinking back to like these
Yeah,
motherfuckers kept me enslaved for like a certain
Exactly.
amount of time. You know what? I'm free now. I got my armor. Let me just wreak some havoc. You know what I mean? And he was
Mhm.
going at him, like literally going at him. We
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
103 people actually watching tonight. Thank you so much. Hit that like button. Come on and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, man. Like, listen, bro. I love the scene, and I also love Bill's character who came in to try to calm him down, and
Mhm.
you know what I mean, and thinking that she had everything completely under control, and he was like, "All right, I put him down, but I'm taking the arm. I'm getting something. I'm taking a piece. I just, you know what I mean. I just need a piece. I mean, that's just the way it was. But I loved it. What
She
you think about it?
definitely talked him off the ledge, didn't she? You know, because he could have just killed all of them in there if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And he even paid the bill.
That was the
Yeah,
best
and
part.
then paid his fucking
That
bill.
was the
Yeah,
best part.
exactly.
I paid my way.
I don't need to
paid my
comp.
way.
I don't need to comp here.
That's
Here.
right.
Here's
That's
the
right.
money. You got it. Take it. I got the gratification of doing what I needed to do. Like he is a beast. Like literally, pretty much like, you know, one of the most talked about characters of the episode is everywhere. People basically want more and more of him. And to finally and to see Boba, I was glad to see that Boba hired him. And
Yes.
so basically we already know he's gonna get busy with him. Oh man, I cannot wait. Like yeah, what you
And
gonna
I
say?
got to see Max Rebo again too, because I love
Yeah,
that guy.
right.
That doesn't make sense to me because I thought Max was destroyed, you know, in the Katana when that blew up. Wasn't he on that ship, or wasn't
What,
he on
in
the
the sail barge?
He
On the
got
sail
away
barge?
on
Yeah.
a skiff with a bunch of people. So right before the explosion.
Possibly. He probably got off because there was a lot of people getting off that ship. Like
Yeah.
literally, there were a lot of people getting off that ship, especially, when Luke had Leia point the gun at the deck before that actually happened. And once he actually jumped on, and like so, there were a lot of people, because even when Leia was, when she killed. Jabba, there were a lot of people scurrying in the background, like trying to get away and get off. So it could have been like they could have said, like, "Yo, I'm
Yeah.
out."
Yeah, Solo Nightmare also brings up the point too that Bib Fortuna was also on the barge as well. So yeah, you guys are right.
I mean, if
Yeah.
I could say one thing about the Sanctuary, it feels extremely accurate to me for a Star Wars environment. Like
Yeah.
that feels like if I could imagine walking into any cantina in the Star Wars universe and I could picture it, that's what it could possibly look like. So
Yeah.
I'm really, every time they go into the Sanctuary, I'm like, yes, we get to see what it's like to be in one of these places and see everybody and just kind of enjoy it. And I really do like that they kept that part pretty
Yeah.
consistent and it feels like the universe we know.
I just want them to turn the lights down a little bit. It's too light.
It's pretty bright, right?
It's too bright. Turn them lights down. Just make it a little bit more gritty. You know what I mean? Like, I just want it to be more gritty. But the thing is, what I love about it though, the Sanctuary, is a simple fact that we see that Twi'leks are more than just used as slaves and stuff like that. We see that they can actually
Right.
have a more commanding role. And I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that, you know, there's a bit of royalty to him as well. You know what I mean? Like, so that I was happy to see that a lot of these characters are getting shine, you know, even with the Tuskens, Trandosians, we see how they are, which is there's a lot of Trandosians roaming. That's why I believe we're going to actually, you know,
Boss.
Yeah, Boss is going to be back, bro. He's going to, I believe he's going to actually come in. So, which is going to be interesting to see how him and Chrysanthemum work together. Like, if they're going to actually work together or not. If Boba's going to have to jump in between and be like, yo, no ripping off his arms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No disintegration. It'd be, you know what? It'd be good if Boba looked at him and said, no disintegration.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, like, none.
No,
like,
no,
look at that.
no
no
amputation.
dismemberment. No dismemberment.
No dismemberment. Exactly.
No misrememberment. What's the star? Wait a minute. What the Star Cruiser should have looked like? Who was that? What was she answering? I guess it was. I'm just so glad to see CC in the group, man. Get better, CC3PO. Everybody, hashtag get better, CC3PO.
Yes.
You know, please, because we got to have her back on the show. Like look, Mario and Vinny, when y'all weren't here, the ladies.
I went back and watched it. Y'all held it down.
The ladies
Yeah.
held
Mhm.
it down,
Yeah.
bro. They held it down. It was like, yo, they were like, Leo, we got this. You
Yeah.
chill out. Let us. We
Should've
got
given them
this.
the show,
They
man.
was popping collars
Yeah.
the entire time, bro. Like, CC and her were having conversations like this, just talking
Yeah,
to
we
each other,
were.
just popping the collar.
Yeah.
No, y'all held it down. They definitely held it down. It made
It was smooth. I went back and watched it.
it was
smooth.
so smooth.
Thank
And it
you.
was a highly popular show. If you look at
Yeah.
the views and the viewership and stuff like that, it was really popular. So y'all definitely killed it. CC3PO, we cannot wait to get you back
Yes.
next week. I hope I just need to get better. But yeah, and then you know, we move to the conversation that or the table discussion when he invited, you know, pretty much all the crime bosses you know, back to his palace, and they had those conversations with them in which he was basically laying out his plan. And it's like, yo, like literally it's like zero. We're seeing, come on. My big thing is that I want Boba's respect back. I want them to give him the respect that he deserves.
It was tough to watch him be like, you don't owe me tribute or any quarter. Just please don't hurt me. Like, it was weird. It was really a soft approach. It was basically like, just please, you know, let's not fight. I just want to be able to do this. It's like, as opposed to, here's what y'all got to do. And we all kind of was hoping to see this be the moment where like Boba like really acted like a boss. And what's really disturbing is if Bib Fortuna, if his corny ass can have the power, you know, that he had, and he was backstabbing people to fuck up those relationships, but he still had that respect from jump, from at least, you know, several members that we've seen at the table, and he just messed up those relationships. You would think that Boba would, you know, rule with a heavier hand and then keep those relationships strong, as opposed to entering into a relationship with these other heads of house from such a weak standpoint of that we're all equal. If not only equal, I'm your lesser, just leave me be. That's not what, I don't know. It's really hard to tell what his motivation is on the show, even on episode 4. And I'm not sure if we can count on him to accomplish the things that he's trying to accomplish without the power that the previous heads of the palace have had.
Well, I think that we got a little hint of his motivation, or at least like a tiny taste of what it might be, because of him saying that, you know, we've always had to follow other people's orders, and we lost, you know, we got put in danger and we lost money, and we're smarter than them. You know, let's do it for ourselves. You know, let's take over ourselves. And I thought that was a legitimate motivation. I thought his motivation was going to be that he wanted to liberate the sands for, you know, the Tuskens or something. But that was not the motivation at all. And I kind of was so focused, and I held on to that. And I said, that's what he must be doing. He must be saving the Tuskens. This is what he's going to do. And this is how, but I have a feeling that that wasn't really, you know, I don't know why I felt that. I guess maybe I wanted to feel that that was his motivation. I don't know why, but clearly I think motivation is even self-preservation at this point, because he, perhaps these jobs have put him in danger, and he's tired of being put in danger and having his life, he's risking his life when he doesn't have to do that. And he can still make everybody money and still, have a decent life this way without having to be told what to do. He wants to be his own boss now. He wants to be his own boss. And I think that he did scare them a little bit with the rancor under the table.
Yeah.
But see, the rancor scare was kind of like them back talking and saying like, you ain't shit, why should we listen to you? And it wasn't the rancor scare to get them to follow him and pay tribute to him as the boss. It was just for them not to disrespect him. So if you need the rancor for them to even respect you in the first place, that's trouble. But the funniest shit about it was like, I wouldn't have been sitting back at that table. Like, I'm cool. I'm gonna chill over here by the wall. I ain't standing over the grate with rancor claws coming up at me. I can hear you from here. I'm good.
Yeah.
And are we?
Yeah.
I mean, is it feasible that some of them, even though they're agreeing right now to not side with the Pikes, I mean, I suspect that some of them will side with the Pikes, right? I mean,
of course. Why wouldn't you? What would you have to fear from Boba Fett at this point if you're any of these characters in this show?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't respect him enough as it is already. So yeah,
he's going.
Why wouldn't they?
He's definitely going into it with a hint of betrayal, like knowing that they are because, like I said, these guilds, these crime bosses are about money. They're about credits, and on top of that, they know that if they can strike a deal with the Pikes to basically still have their section under control, then they'll do it by any means. Because right now, there's almost zero belief and what Boba can accomplish until they see it in action. You know what I mean? Until they see him in action. And that's the thing, is it's like, that's my biggest, it's like this, we're talking about a guy, an ex-bounty hunter, who is the most feared in the galaxy, but yet these people don't look at him that way.
Right. And it's
is it because he took his helmet off?
Like, it's weird because it's like, these are crime bosses. They respect fear and control. Like, this isn't like a Congress meeting where everyone has to be like super polite and cordial and formal. Like, this is somebody who's supposed to, the first time when somebody at that table talked back, he should have killed him and to send a message. It's like, have the writer seen any gangster movie before?
Yeah.
But they haven't written him that way. That's the problem.
That episode.
He's a giant softy, so he's not going to be, trying to.
But okay,
display.
So I wouldn't have a problem with that if he wasn't also trying to be a crime boss. How can you be both?
Exactly.
Yeah, it could have been like that Maul episode where I can't remember what Clone Wars episode it was, but he was meeting with someone and they were like, "We're not going to comply," and he went in there and he kind of literally beheaded everybody or. The leader.
It's weird. It's like he wants to retire and be the boss at the same time. It doesn't work.
Yeah, like he really has to assert his position. Somebody in that room should have been.
How it's going to end is that it's not going to work. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be pessimistic, but there's a possibility this may not work out.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, you gotta, in a sense, and from Fennec's perspective and from her point, is that you have to kind of assert your position. Somebody like you, it's like you almost felt that somebody in that room had to be made an example for everybody else to understand or feel that threat. You know what I mean? Like, he was just, again, so like, all right, I'm just reserved and chill. Okay, whatever. I tell you what, let me just basically, we'll go out and we'll take out the Pikes and you guys just live. I'd have been like, yo, okay, so all right, since you talking shit, pay me money now. Pay me some money right now, or you don't leave this palace alive. Like, literally. You know what I mean? So it's just like, look, I understand your position, but even like the nicest or look, for 4 years, we had a crime boss sitting in the White House. And he appeared to some people as, whatever, this, amalgamation of goodness, but still was doing some underhanded ish. From a certain perspective. Boba, you need to do the same thing, buddy. Like, seriously, like, we need to see that, okay, you can rule, but you got to also rule with a tad bit of fear, in a sense. You know what I mean? To get your point across.
I think he hasn't really been given that chance, in a sense, to where he can come off as, the nice guy, like, okay, we're going to be cool.
Yeah.
But bro, every time
hang on a minute. But I think it sends a stronger message if they leave, right, and they betray him, and to where he has someone else actually do the dirty work.
Yeah.
Where he could be the Vito Corleone, and then they can have like either like, say, Chrysanthemum could be like his Clemenza, or someone else, just basically, fuck around and find out. You know what I mean? So then I think after that, you kind of put the fear into everybody, that was at that table. It's like, oh shit, look what happened to to so and so just because we did this.
And
So
that's the thing. It's like
could be that,
Chrysanthemum was
too.
in the room. He was in that room when this was actually happening. And I'm like, yo, I just felt as though like at that dinner table, there needed to be more of a threat. You know what I mean? Like there needed to be something that kind of like somebody needed to be made a
The
martyr.
Rancor
Like,
wasn't enough.
Virtually everyone who's tried to cross him, he's just hired them. So how much are you going to fear somebody? Because like the worst thing that's going to happen is he's going to offer me a 401k.
I think you guys make a really good point, and essentially, I think, to be honest with you, when I look at this series so far, and there are so many wonderful things in the series so far that I've loved, but I still feel like we're missing something, and that something may be that fierceness, and it's just something that we're always going to want to see because it's almost like we're missing part of his life, and that important part of his life is what made him want to do a lifestyle change. So when we didn't witness it, like, for example, maybe even just one incident that just made him change his mind and say, I can't do this anymore. Or, that was a really close one. I don't even know how I made it out, or something that felt as if it was going to push him from not being a bounty hunter anymore and now just being a boss. We needed to kind of see that. And I think we kind of were teased that we were going to see that because the first scene that we saw at the end of Mando season 2 was him being a boss, like killing Big Fortuna in that way. It felt like he was going
That's where we were going. Yeah.
That's what we were expecting.
So I kind of think that, while it is true that we witnessed, and that was very badass, like that felt very good. It was very satisfying to see him do that. We also know that there are other aspects to his life, and we do want to see those other aspects. And by not having that, it feels a little incomplete, just a little, like maybe it's almost like maybe one of these days he'll finally say, well, there was this thing that happened, in the Outer Rim, and then we'll go, oh, that's it. That's the thing that he didn't tell us, that we didn't learn in this series. That was the part that was missing. And then we can say now it feels complete, but it does feel like there's just something, that little thing that's missing.
That's not there. That doesn't lend to, what, again, the ruthlessness. And I think, again, like you talked about in the very beginning, Vinny, is that we are spoiled. Like we were spoiled, but it wasn't our fault.
You can't help but compare this to Mandalorian, and it's like night and day.
Yeah.
And there's definitely parts of the show that are, like as amazing as Mandalorian been as a property. But there's just, motivations that don't line up. Like he has the ruthlessness to take out Bib Fortuna, to take out the biker gang. Like, there's times where he's Boba Fett. So it doesn't seem like he's does those things and then feels remorse, and it's like a tug and pull. It's like it's like he picks and chooses when to be badass, but otherwise every other time he just wants to be meek and mild, which is tough to be so inconsistent. And like once again in that role, like if he was just wandering nomad or on his own, that would make sense because he doesn't always want to kill. But you can't be so inconsistent. If you're in power, you have to continuously like show, at least while you're trying to establish yourself. So it's tough, especially especially after Mandalorian, because we've seen Mandalorian lose, but we've never seen his kind of like his moral compass be all over the place. Like if he lost a fight, it wasn't because I didn't want to fight this time. It was weird. So I don't know. Maybe like said, like maybe there's going to be something that we see coming up, that will explain why it's kind of hot and cold with him. But it doesn't feel like there's anything at all. It just feels like it's random when he decides to be aggressive.
The other thing I wanted to mention just briefly is that, and I don't know if I had already mentioned it, but and I hate to compare it to Mando, but even Mando had, like a woman trying to take his helmet off at some point. And, of course, that's a different circumstance, but, Boba, it's, the type of wealth that he has and, the things that he's done. I'm sure there are a lot of women who would be attracted to him. So, having Fennec kind of build this bond with him has certainly like satisfied that craving that I have for him to have a close relationship with someone. But I still kind of want him to have a really close relationship with someone, like what I would expect him to be, because now he's no longer a bounty hunter. So he's kind of, making roots. And, what happens when you make roots? You have a family or things or people that are important to you. And so now this makes me want to see it even more, because I know that he can go ahead and reach out to a person and say, hey, I need you to, work with me. She could have left. She could have left him. She decided to stay pretty much on her own volition, right? I mean, technically speaking, she could have left him after she, paid him back for the reparative thing that they did. So, I have to wonder, I think what they could have done was pump up his charismatic side, because, clearly he has finesse with Fennec. And she noticed that about him. And trust me, she isn't going to ever forget him because of that. So why not play up his finesse a little bit more? Let him be somebody who, even though he was hunting people, he could trick them and then get the shackles on them too. Give him even, not just the power of being able to use his fighting skills, but also just being incredibly clever as well.
Yeah. Good point. Mario, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. So knowing that we actually have 3 episodes left, and just 3, you know what I mean? Just 3. Now, we know that there's a possibility that we're going to get longer episodes. That we're going to see, there's more that they have to actually throw into these shows. If you had to, or if there was one thing that you wanted to actually see from Boba going forward that we know of right now, what direction would you want them to take him in now? Considering the simple fact that it's like we're waiting so long to see him in some type of form. Now we know we're not going to get the Boba or the bounty hunter version of this character. So what would you say you would want to see more so than any?
Considering how they sold this show as like this whole crime lord kind of thing, I would like to see that expanded upon. Whether it be like rivalries with Crimson Dawn, if that's still around, or any other underground crime lord people that are out there. But I just want to see more of that. There's so much story that can be, I think, added upon. For that particular type of scenario and stuff. And I really can't go too back into the Legends because I'm really not too familiar, with Legends. But just going forward, I just want to see what they've sold us on, before with everything that they've put out, and that's just more the mob mentality, more of this crime boss, type of thing. So. Yeah, and I'm a sucker for gangster films too. So, a galactic gangster film, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, and I think again, okay? So let me ask you this real quick, Mario. Then I'm gonna go to Benny and other. Do you think that we're going to see at this point? There's one bounty hunter I think we'll actually see. So I mean that's without saying, but. What other bounty hunters do you think we'll possibly see, or that we'll run into that is a possibility that will be introduced? Because we heard rumors, we can't confirm those rumors, but it's just like now they know that people want to see it. I know they're watching and they're looking at the comments. So, what do you think, or which bounty hunter would you want to actually see?
I would love to see Cad Bane on the other side, of whoever she's going to be going against. But I think who will probably actually see it is Dengar, as far as like coming back and helping out Boba. But who knows? I mean, I don't like to speculate. I mean, I'm trying to play along.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah. So it's just I'm just trying to just watch it for what it is and not speculate too much, because I know it kind of gets your hopes up, and then when it doesn't happen, it's easily to get disappointed. Which I try not to put myself in that kind of position.
Yeah.
But if I'm only going to choose one, I'm just going to say Cad Bane on the opposing side. Either fighting, alongside with the Pikes. So That's
Yeah.
what I'm hoping for.
Got you. Vinny, what about you, man? Who would you what direction would you want them to actually take going forward, man?
I definitely would, like most people would love to see Cat Bane. I feel like um we've talked a lot about his hesitation or his trepidation tonight. I feel like it is a possibility that we find out it wasn't the biker gang that killed the Tuscans, and they just set him up by tagging their camp with their logo, and
Yeah.
that might, that might result in some of his hesitation that he has now because he slaughtered the wrong people. So maybe that's part of it, and that'll come to light in the future. And then maybe when he finds out that it was the Pikes, and not only they killed his new family, but they lied and made him a murderer, and result that flips, Boba Fett rage mode on, and we get to see more of what we've been waiting to see from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Very interesting. Same question. What would you want to see going forward?
Well, I definitely like the idea of Crimson Dawn and Kira showing up, but something inside of me wants that pirate guy to show up. I don't know why. Do you remember?
No Hondo, please.
Hondo.
No Hondo Naka.
I want him to show up because I think that because this series has
That dude was like a roach, man. You can't get rid of him.
I think that because the series has gone in such a different direction from what we all thought it would be, wouldn't it be funny if he was kind of holding more cards and somehow came out of the woodwork somewhere? They've already kind of thrown us in a direction we were not expecting. So I think the most likely possibility would be, why not bring a pirate into this and make it really go crazy and, somewhat unpredictable, because it's been so unpredictable so far. So that's what I think will happen.
Yeah. This is my friend Mark. Mark 7.
He's asking everybody at the table who got Leo's beat.
Who got Leo's beat? Like, he's like, who got that beat? He's like, who got that beat? Yo, got that beat? Who got that beat? Oh man. Yeah, I think here's the thing. Like, if I had to really, I think now is where we hit overdrive. I think this is basically where we go now. This is where, he's gathering, all the muscle that he can actually get. Like 3 episodes, they have time to basically look. I'm glad it's 3 episodes left and not just 1. You know what I mean? I'm glad there's 3 because it's giving it time to really build out. They might flesh it out a bit more. And I hope they just hit the ground running with the next episode. I don't want to see you. No more right now. Like, I'm with you, Mario. At this particular point, I am definitely with you. No more, but I don't want to see any more flashbacks. We're done with all that now. Now we know what his agenda is. Let's move forward. He's with Fennec. They got, Slave 1. I want to see it going forward. We don't need to see any more flashbacks. We got that. If anything, make the revelation or reveal that, pretty much the Tusken warrior survived with the child. Let's see that, going forward. I don't want to see a single flashback now at all, unless it's relevant to what's happening right now. Even then, I don't. If you know what? If you're going to show me a flashback, probably one of the dopest flashbacks you can show me is your time with the rest of these bounty hunters. The reason why you would call them is your time with them when you had the armor. Go back beyond the Tuscans. Go back beyond, you coming out of the Sarlacc pit. Go back to when you actually spent time with these, or when you were with these bounty hunters. Maybe conversations that you actually had them, because they're all part of a guild. These conversations that you actually had with them, and the reason why you felt the need to call on them for help. Do something like that. I would love that, and I would welcome that. And that's if they're going to bring them in. Who knows? But no more flashbacks. Let's hit the ball like the ground running. Like, we need to see this. We need to see that there's forward motion rather than, just being stuck in the past now. I don't want that anymore. Like, I really don't. Like, and I think that will be fleshed out. Now, the question is, though, because they're talking about these credits, is he going to go off-world or is he going to call them there? Because I don't think this basically probably safe at this point for him to leave. Like, he would probably have to stay just to kind of regulate and assert his position more. But how is he going to, place this call? I guess these beacons out. I guess just put tabs and hits on whatever. Like, what is he going to do at this point? That's going to be interesting to see.
Send a Raven.
Yeah,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to be sending out some sort of calls
it's
out
gonna be
to
Mandalorian signal in the sky, like fucking bat signal.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about 3 moons?
Oh yeah,
Exactly. What do you think about the 3 moons? We've never seen that before, right?
Right.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
but it was in this episode.
I mean, it probably would destroy the planet, but I mean, maybe that's what happened to the oceans in the first place.
Yeah.
Possible.
We were watching it. Toya was like, I don't think I can exist on a planet with 3 moons. It would drive me nuts.
I think it would. I think it would kill the planet, though. I don't think.
Yeah.
Did we not see that? I could have sworn that we actually saw it in the Fennec Shan episode with the in the Mandalorian.
We might have. I just don't remember it before.
Just don't recall it, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
This is what I think will happen. Oh, single songwriter say Fennec make the call.
Yo, she got everything else in that gun, so she might have like a satellite phone or something. It's like a
yeah.
She got all kinds of gadgets in there, right?
She's the one who is more in touch with everyone right now in the galaxy.
She is like
so that's why I was thinking one of the reasons why he absolutely needs her is because she knows who to call. She knows what's going on in each place. She knew about Mando. She knew all his details. Even though she was kind of running away and people were pursuing her, she knew all the tea. So Fennec is someone you want to ask questions and be.
What if they bring back? What if they bring back Cara Dune and we see Gina Carano come back? Because they did had a little bit of a thing over there when they were trying to get Grogu.
I think there's a better chance that I'm on the show.
What'd you say?
There's a better chance that I'm on the show than
her.
No,
I don't know. It could be a nice thing. Because
it
would be something that wasn't expected. You know what I mean? If they did something like that you wouldn't expect to happen.
If they did something like that, that would definitely lead into the narrative of season 3. So going into that, you do go in with that momentum.
I'd be all for it.
Like, hey, Cara Dune's back.
I'd be all for it. I don't care what she's tweeting, so I'd be for it. But I just doubt it.
Yeah, I just again, I mean, it could be it'd be an interesting thing like to see going forward. I just hope that there's this big payoff that Tamora Morrison's been talking about. I hope it is a payoff, like literally it is, because I think they know that we're about due for it. Like we need it. Like it. I mean it literally like as. We're clinging to this episode and saying, okay, it was good. But the thing is, even some of the filler episodes of Mandalorian had good points. And it was still something that was cohesive to the show. It's like, and I'm not saying that these aren't cohesive, but it's just like, it's like a slow crawl, like a really, really slow crawl. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping it pays off in the end, man. I don't know. What you think?
There was maybe the Gunslinger episode might be the only episode that I wouldn't rewatch over and over of Mando, and I can't really say that there's, except for episode 2 so far, any episode that of Boba Fett that like I'll continuously be going back to after the season's over so far. So they definitely need to ramp it up for these last 3 episodes because it's not fair. But I mean, you set the bar really high with Mandalorian, and it's not because the action isn't the same or anything like that. It's there's all these other factors that we've mentioned. I mean, he doesn't need to be constantly, killing people and blowing stuff up. It's just when Mandalorian wasn't fighting, there was amazing moments in interpersonal relationships on the show that were really strong. And these have lacked that for, a portion. And there's been strong moments too. It just hasn't been consistent.
Yeah.
So I definitely would have liked to have learned a little bit more about Boba, the man, his personal thoughts and stuff. And I don't feel like I got that from him necessarily in this, where in the Mandalorian, I'm not quite sure whether what we got was the Mandalorian's personal thoughts, just more of sort of him kind of being independent for the first time and not with the Enclave. And how was he going to handle it being, sort of like an independent operator with the with Baby Yoda, so to speak. That was the first time that he was fully on his own. There was no one else. And so, I almost wonder it's the opposite, because Boba has been on his own for so long, and now he's with someone, and but wouldn't we feel something else for him? Would there be other emotions that Boba would be expressing now as someone who's had that change in his life? I mean, I wonder. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, but the thing is, the people that he's surrounding himself with now is kind of like just ragtag, like just people from here and there, as opposed to what Mandalorian lost was his tribe, his community. So what Boba Fett is trying to gain isn't really akin to what Mandalorian lost. So it's Jaren had lost. So it's kind of hard to compare it. I mean, I feel like what's tough about the show is maybe what was more interesting about Boba Fett was way before he fell into that pit. And that might have been something that'd been more interesting to dissect than what happened to him since. But, who's to say, like, I'm trying to be patient too. Like, we may see an amazing next 3 episodes that kind of, bring all this together. And, but right now it's a little inconsistent. So, we'll see.
This is what people have come to see. What were you going to say, Mario?
No, this picture that you bring up is actually something that I was just kind of thinking a few minutes ago. Is that we talked about how we don't want to see flashbacks anymore, but you said there was one you would like to see going back to the actual bounty hunters. Go a little bit further back. One I wouldn't mind to go back even further to see, like, what if they open up to a flashback in which we see the showdown between Cad Bane and Boba Fett, right? So basically, what we saw in that deleted scene of Clone Wars or whatever it was supposed to be. Actually see that done in live action. So then when he gets that dent in his helmet, and then basically we switch to modern day, the camera's like zoomed in on his face and it just pans out, and then we see, the damage with the helmet, the big old dent on the helmet, this and that, and to kind of bring in Cad Bane, in that way. So we see him in a flashback, and then the audience is like, oh shit, there's a big possibility that Cad Bane's actually going to be coming probably at the end of the episode or something, so.
And the last
I'd be for that.
The last time we saw him was fighting, I think Shand was fighting him in the Bad Batch. In the
Bad Batch, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be interesting to see that rematch, because they both get a rematch with him. It's like pretty much Bane is the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy, to be quite honest, because like he's just like the most skilled at getting out of anything and getting what he wants. You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
Bane was so dope to watch in Clone Wars because at first he seemed corny, and then the more you seen him just do an incredible thing after an incredible thing, like even hang with Obi-Wan is just like, all right, you can't even hate him no more. He's like, he gets out of every situation he gets in, and always just comes out smelling like roses. It's like, yo, who is this guy? He just always is in the mix, does what he got to do, dips and gets out without a scratch. It's incredible.
Like, he's almost as clever as Thrawn. Like him and Thrawn, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just that really that clever.
Then if Boba is sort of like hanging up his hat as a bounty hunter, is Bane now the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. Like, that's the way I see it. Pretty much he is. Like, he's taking on that position. Who knows? The Pikes could be the one that actually call him. You know what I mean? To do the dirty work. Or we might even actually see like the crime bosses call him to take out Boba. You know what I mean? You never know.
And will this be his first time in live action, Lael?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not going to be easy task. It's not. It's not going to be easy. Like, Cad, he's like the Terminator, bro. He just can't die.
Well, I know you know something, man, because every episode we've been on, you seem to be coming off with these little hints.
What?
Like, hey, I know something, but I ain't gonna tell y'all nothing. But
Mario,
you're dropping these little
Mario, why does he keep going? I know something, but it's definitely not Cad Bane. Like, yo,
I didn't say anything about Cad Bane. I just brought this up because I saw it on the internet.
Of course you did.
I did. I saw this on the internet, so I was like, "Yo, let me just bring it up because that's dope." Like, it was. I would want to see that. I want to see him. I want to see Bosk. I want to see Dengar. I want to see Zuckuss. I want to see Forlorn. I want to see all of them, but it's yeah.
Look at this guy.
What? I'm just saying, like, I just want to see it, man. Because it's like at this particular point, they already know what they're giving us. They know they're giving us something. They're warming up to something, and it's like everybody's been talking about it. It's been filtered on the internet so long. Like, everybody wants to see this happen.
There's also been rumors about Harrison Ford coming in to do something and possible de-aging, stuff like that. Do you guys think that'll happen? That we might see like a Han Solo or something like that post.
Why not?
I feel it's very possible.
Yeah, why not?
I think they will. I think that it'd possibly be like something, because we had talked about this I think yesterday or last night slightly, that it could even be a possibility that we see Han without unwillingly, not even unwillingly, but just not really knowing that he's actually helping out Boba. Like he could actually come in and help Boba. You know what I mean? Like the unhelmeted version of Boba explaining, like, look, no, it wasn't personal. It was a job. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
No hard feelings. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Who knows? Like, I mean, that's I was kind of talking to Aries about this yesterday. It was like, you know what I mean? Like, they talk about like how would they shoehorn him in? Like, who knows? Like, Jabba may not have been the only person that he owed money to. Like, maybe he was just trying to fulfill all debts to wipe the slate clean, so him and Leia can just live that better life.
At this point, he may be running too. He may be running Spice on the low.
You never know.
It's possible.
You never know.
I would also like to see them explore more, the Spice Wars and Spice's involvement in different aspects of the Star Wars universe and different applications of it. I mean, Spice is a huge deal in the books, and it's like hinted at very often in the lore that we've seen, that's canon. So I definitely would like to see it touched on here and there a bit more, just to show just how important it is.
Spice is, So we could. I mean, at this particular point, I would welcome. I'd welcome anything just to kind of bring up the spirit of the show, like the energy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think it needs something else. It needs a bit of a push forward. Just to give it something, like bring in whomever. You know what I mean? They've already hinted. I mean, we already know Din Djarin's going to show up. Now, my question is, how is he going to show up? Because he ain't got a ship. So I want to basically see how you show up. If they're going to give him a new ship, if he's going to get his hands on another, Razor Crest somewhere. Like, come on, man. Like, something.
Like, yo, let me borrow that Slave One. What are you doing this weekend? I mean, I'll bring it back with full tank of gas. Come on, man.
or, you know what would be crazy? We've seen him take Slave One from the palace. We haven't seen Slave One since. In the modern times now, what more so without the flashbacks.
Right.
What if he does have Slave One and he's bringing it back?
Yeah, maybe he's been using it. Maybe he had to get off world after Mando 2.
Maybe Mando's been using Slave One.
Yeah.
Maybe
how convenient would that be? He just brings it back. Hey, I brought your ship back. Oh wow, you need help? What's going on? How can I help? You know what I mean?
Or he could be the one bringing back or bringing the bounty hunters there. I don't know. Or bringing somebody else. I don't know. It's just a thought. Like, not to say that it would happen.
Well, I got you real quick. Would you mind?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Mando is broke. I mean, he lost his ship. He lost everything that was in that, and he doesn't really have any credits. He's like his credit isn't bad. He just doesn't have any credit.
He doesn't have any.
So
I doubt he got a bank account.
This job.
Yeah,
Mando needs this job.
He does. You make a good point. Like, he needs it. Yeah, like he needs all the money he can get at this particular point. So why not? Like, I mean, it would make perfectly good sense to kind of, bring that full circle again. But I don't know. Maybe he does have Slave One. Maybe it's maybe Boba still has it in the, it's there. It's just sitting patiently.
Maybe that was the actual motivation as to why Boba really helped him get Baby Yoda back, because he knew he could ask him this favor.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah. Like, he knew that they formed a bit of a relationship at the point where he knew he could depend on him. Like, he's done so much for them. Now I need a favor. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'm saying. Like, again, that's what it's not far out of the realm of us not only seeing Mando, but we can see Bo-Katan. You know, we can see the rest of them actually coming to his rescue, and then after this is over, saying, "Look, now we need a favor from you. We need to go back to we need you in the siege of Mandalore." You know what I mean? So you never know.
We've all wanted to see Boba Fett and Mandalorians all fighting together. It's been something that many Star Wars fans like have wanted to see since back in the day when we thought that's what Clone Wars was going to be. So, you know, episode 2 was going to be. So, I mean, it may be shoehorned, it may be a little bit forced, and it may be like using Mando's success as a crutch. But if that's what we're going to get, I mean, I'm good.
But wouldn't you want to say that for Mando season 3? Because then, well, I mean, it's possible too that they could bring in Bo-Katan as well. I mean,
I hate to say it, but at this point, Boba show needs it more.
He needs something right now.
I mean, right?
Like
I mean, if when a lot of people are sitting around going, man, I hope Mandalorian shows up to help pump the show up. Cad Bane shows up. Han Solo shows up. Like, we're all talking about who can come and help give the show a kick in his ass. If Mandalorian season 3 episode 1 drops and there's no one on it, or 2 or 3 or 4, I have a feeling like we're all gonna be cool with just watching Jin do his thing and not really need like Ahsoka and all those people and Luke and everybody in season 2 was great, but Mandalorian was still extremely entertaining without anyone else on the show. And I obviously know that Grogu was a big part of that success, but for me, just seeing him do his thing on his own was highly entertaining. However, I feel like that draw isn't here for Boba Fett unless they give that motivation to him to put the helmet on, stop talking to people, and start fucking some shit up.
But that's my point. Like, he has to, like, it. That's the only thing that, and he even said it himself. Tamora Morrison said that he didn't, like, why does Boba have to talk so much? Like, he shouldn't have to talk as much as he does.
Man nodded and you know, winked, you know, he nodded and had like barely any lines and was the most biggest pop culture phenomenon.
Exactly.
People aren't fans of Boba Fett because of his character growth. It sucks, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's just the actual mystery of the character itself.
They've taken away a lot of the mystery. It's like,
and that's a scary part when you bring in legacy characters like this, because you do take away what's been built up, like Leia mentioned earlier, what's been built up before previously, and then also you have the chance to ruin the actual mystery of a particular character. So
they've just taken a step back, because basically you've shown us how ruthless he could actually be. With the armor, without the armor. You know what I mean? He did damage even without the armor, and we saw that. So you're taking a step backwards, and we're showing, like, now you're showing us a part of him that really, all of that could have came after he fulfilled his destiny or his wish of becoming a boss.
Right.
Then give him that, okay, now I'm just going to retire. I'm just going to become this more reserved. You don't do that now, because basically, like, you're really, especially us from the audience, our point of view, it makes absolutely zero sense. Like, you're not, there's no confidence. You've taken away our confidence in which you can actually show us going further from this character.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like, yo, they're all over the place, and I'm like, yo, I'm really wondering, like, yo, did Favreau really write this? Like, is this what he wrote?
It's odd because, like, you have Luke retired not wanting to fight, Obi-Wan retired not wanting to fight, but they're not also at the same time putting themselves in a position to be the head of something where they are counted on to be aggressive and fight. So it's kind of like, if you have this kind of like, you know, more humble, down to earth monk type, you know, like almost monk type like philosophy about life, and you're growing as a person, great. But it's hard to be that and a crime lord who's constantly being attacked and having assassination attempts at the same time. It's really tough to like juggle both of those. So it's kind of like, give him his swagger back, or, you know, give us Mando season 3, one or the other. Like, that's, I mean, I love what we've seen that is aggressive from Boba Fett, and I love the growth that we've seen from Boba Fett too. But I feel like you can do both. Like, you can say, okay, there's more to him than just, you know, killing people for money, or, you know, disintegrating for people money. And that's what I'm sure that's what their premise was, to set out that there's more to him than the helmet and the suit. But that is what brought you to the dance. That is the core, the crux of what people want to see. And man, it's like, I hate to say it, but it's like he can't keep the helmet on for more than 2 seconds. Like, he has to take it off in every scene. And a lot of us want to see him just in the suit, even if he's just talking to other people. Keep the helmet on. You don't have to be tomorrow the whole show.
Yeah,
I mean,
you haven't fired that blaster not one time, and you've carried it.
No
the entire
flamethrower.
show.
Like Mando uses his whole arsenal every show.
We've seen him use one missile launch. He launched and blew up and disintegrated one individual. That was it. We haven't seen anything else other than that. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Like,
no jetpack.
I understand that you want us to understand the man behind the armor and how significant he was and what he was able to do without it. But we got all that already. We got all that on one episode, so we knew that. But you don't need to continue on with that. Like I'm saying, listen, if I said it once, to say it again. We have to see why. Even if he's an ex-bounty hunter, we have to see why he was feared. And right now, you're just telling us that everyone on Tatooine thinks he's a bag of shit. Like, literally.
I mean, the Pikes are going to strike first, right? So maybe they'll go and like try and blow up, the palace, and Boba won't be there because he'll be like at Sanctuary with Garza Fwip, and he's gonna like run back, get his armor or something, or he has it with him. But like, I'm just trying to think of where would they strike. Like, ideally, if they have spice there, you'd want to hit someplace that had the spice. So you want to hurt them where the bank is, right? Or maybe the palace or something. What are the good spots to hit Tatooine to blow that shit up and be like, oh shit, they cost me like $1 billion, or like where would you strike first?
It is weird. Because the thing is, if you think about it, like, okay, so we have the Pikes, and people fear the Pikes more than they fear anyone else on that planet. Like, I want to see, look, for me, it's just like, okay, what we got for Mandalorian, Din Djarin, whenever he walks into a place, he was feared because they knew that he was there for a reason.
Everybody shut up.
They shut up. They got silent. It was quiet. It was like, oh, shit. Even the scene that we actually got from the episode when both him and Boba walked in to talk to Bo-Katan, they got quiet. Everybody got quiet in that cantina. It's like now he's walking through the streets and then everybody's just going about their own merry way. There's no fear, not even looking. I mean, I want to see that Boba where we get like a slow motion Michael Bay walk through the city and everybody's shutting everything down. Oh, whoops, let's just shut everything down.
Is he going to go nuts? Is he going to go nuts in the next episode?
I mean, it's been said many times in the criticism of the show, but it's just so warranted. This is somebody that Darth Vader had to be like, yo, calm down, yo. This is somebody Darth Vader had to be like, chill, relax, like don't disintegrate him, like easy, Boba. That is what people were kind of hoping to see, and I get it. That's not him anymore. But he's in a position where it's hard not to be that, to do what he's trying to do. So it's weird. Like, I wouldn't have a problem if this was like a more, reserved, laid back Boba Fett, if he wasn't trying to also be, running the town. I just don't understand how they expect both things to be true at the same time. It's tough.
Yeah. That's the thing, is you're completely. I don't know. I still have hope and faith. There's 3 episodes left. Maybe they can, but you can't expect these 3 episodes to, I guess go back. Who's that? Braden. Hi. Lael, love from Australia, man. Hey, love you too, man. So glad you came through. That's my second home. Australia is always my second home. But yeah, you can't expect 3 episodes alone to make up for what we've gotten from the first 4 episodes. You can't expect that. I mean, it's not. I don't know.
Or at least 3 of them, because the second episode was where I thought it was like, all right, now
that it was going to pick up. Now we're good.
Yeah.
And it's the thing is, it's like now if you don't show her again, like you have to show her again at some point, like literally.
Right.
I mean, I want to see her on rooftops, like just leaping off, just whatever, because she was a very important character. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It just. Yeah. I don't know. We have to see. We got next Wednesday and to hope that we get something from it. We'll have like a really meaningful conversation next Thursday. I mean, we look good. Look, and that's not taken away from this episode, because this episode was good. It was really good. Like there were certain aspects of the episode that were really good. I just think that. Now, this is what we're running into. We had episode 1, it was iffy. Episode 2, we were like, okay, yeah, we're back in the thick of things. The third episode was like, man. Then we got the fourth episode, and it's like, okay, we're here, but this is good, but and I like this, but is the next episode gonna be trash? Like, you know what I mean?
Is Boba going to be in trouble because he's using money to hire mercenaries?
Trouble from who?
Just not being able to have people who fight for him the same way that Fennec would fight, or other people, or
At this point, they certainly would respect money more than they respect him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and his eye, like it's that I can't imagine any other way he's going to recruit other than hiring people. I mean, that would be the only way that I would see him, drawing people in. But
I just don't want to see any more Vespas outside of the palace. I don't want to see him sitting there. I don't want to see that gang. I'm so glad we didn't see him in this episode. I just don't want to see him again. And we are, but I just don't want to. Like, I don't want to see him again.
They're going to be parked right in front of Slave One, dude. Watch.
Well, I know. They're probably going to Slave One.
We're going to have another Back to the Future race through the streets, and they're all going to hook up to the Ranker.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway.
Will this whole thing end in a bet?
What you mean?
Like the way that Attack of Clones. You remember the pod race in how everything ended in a bet? Money is the most important thing in this scenario, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So could it all end in a bet?
Good question. Good question. Who knows? Or who knows who's putting on? And the thing is, I think at this particular point, it'd be, what? It wouldn't even be crazy to think that each of the crime lords has ties with their own bounty hunter. They might actually call their own in. You know what I mean? Like, it might not be just Boba himself calling in, like, just the muscle and the support. It could possibly be, the crime bosses saying that we need to have, maybe the Trandoshians have, a link to boss to get him there. You know what I mean? You never know. It could be one of those type of situations, but I don't know. Here's hoping for like episode 5, man. Like that there's going to be like something going forward that's going to, take us in the right direction. I don't know. We'll definitely see how it goes. Anyway, great episode, guys. It was good tonight. Great talk. We'll be back here next. Hopefully, CC3PO will be back next Thursday. Please get better. Get better so we can actually see you back here next week. Because I mean, it's just like it doesn't feel complete without having those conversations and stuff like that. So definitely get better. Mario, what's going on? What's going on over there with Collecting Weekly this week, man?
So tomorrow night we have Ins and Outs of Collecting. We'll be talking statues. We've got a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about. That Mythos Vader just dropped. It's a beautiful looking piece.
Yeah.
That's out now?
It's out now. It's up for pre-order.
It's up for pre-order, bro.
So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be having a little bit of a discussion about, he just picked up the Sideshow premium format Mandalorian. So we're going to do a little bit of a comparison between the Iron Studios that I have here behind me in this big old giant box that I got to unbox in. We're going to do a bit of a comparison on that. Next Tuesday, we have Collecting Weekly episode 200, man. It's a big milestone for us over there, man. So that's going to be absolutely fun. So, we're also looking to, bump up our subscriber count a little bit, having a little bit of a lull right now. So y'all can help us out, get to 2,000. That'd be great. So just come check us out if you guys can. Collecting Weekly.
Where are y'all at right now?
I think a little over 1,600.
Bro, I thought y'all were easily at 2. Yeah, come on. If you haven't already subscribed to Collecting Weekly, come on, man. 2,000. Come on, they got too much content, dope ass content over there. Like, even though I'm kind of impartial about, the whole, pose wars, man, because they did. I'm impartial about that, man. But like, come on, man. If y'all haven't actually subscribed to Collecting Weekly, get on over there, man. On IG, YouTube, everything, man. Collecting Weekly is where it's at. Like, they're putting out way too much content for them not to be at least 5,000 right now, straight up. There's some dope content going over there. So if you haven't already subscribed to their channel, their content, you get to see Mario over there, Dean, Zach, John, everyone over there, man. Eddie. My guy Eddie, all of them, man. Like straight up, like seriously. If you haven't already subscribed, go over right now. Subscribe. It's Collecting Weekly. Definitely. Do that right away. What's going on with you? What you got coming up?
Yeah, of course, as you know, I have my channel, Positive Fandom. And the latest thing that we're covering now, of course, is Star Wars, always covering Star Wars, but also we're covering the series, The Arcane, and the Underworld series, which we're doing reviews on. But you can also find me on Monday nights streaming with Lorraine Creole on Toxic Femininity at 8 p.m. Eastern. And on Thursdays, you can always find me here at Uncivilized Scoundrels here, of course, on the 1/6 Scale Man Network. On Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern, you can sometimes find me on Midnight's Edge in the morning. And on Friday nights at 3 a.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific with Lael, you can find both of us on Midnight Metal at the Burn Network.
Oh man, that makes me sore thinking about it. But when you're on, you're on. Like, when you are on, you're on, and I love it.
Maybe the time will change a little earlier, Leo. I don't know.
Possibly.
Then it wouldn't be Midnight Metal. It would be for the East Coast. Somewhere, yeah.
Yo, it's like, you know what? It's not Midnight Metal for us over here. It's like morning brunch, like morning breakfast. Like this is the breakfast show for us, but it's Midnight Metal for them over there, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Straight up. You know what? We need to come up with the breakfast show. Like straight up and make him like us. For us, it'd be like 6 a.m. For him, it'd be like 3 o'clock. Make him stay up. make Rob stay up. Be like, 6 o'clock at the breakfast show with Robert Meyer Burnett. Like, let's do that.
That is a thought.
That is definitely a thought. You know, definitely. If you haven't already, everybody subscribe to Burnett Mark, Midnight Metal, PJS All Stars, and also what is it? The other
Positive Fandom.
Fandom
channel. On Sundays, I am going to start to do like a brunch show in the morning. Yeah. So that'll be coming up, but not this week. It'll be the following week that I'll have like a morning brunch show. But
got you.
Yeah, we should do that layout. We got to do
definitely. Man, that's gonna be so. Yeah, we got to do it and get him back.
We'll just change it up every now and then.
We'll have our house coats on and be like, "Oh, nice tea," and he'll be like, "Got you back, motherfucker." straight up. Man, I'm telling. I'll turn the camera off and smack myself every time we're talking just to wake myself up sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah, there is. It is a sacrifice, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. It's so dope. It's such a dope show. I love it. Like it's definitely a highlight. Vinny, what you got going on over there? Vincent Dunn Art and Instagram and the room and everything like that.
Well, I wasn't on last week. I didn't get a chance to show everybody. I had finished up on a Tuscan Warrior piece. I was dying to do her.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it up to the screen so if y'all can see it.
Oh, I love it. So amazing.
Nice.
Thank you.
That is gorgeous.
So my goal is to try and do a piece for each episode of the show. And I think next might be African American chrysanthemum. So,
yo, that'd be dope.
Vinny, I appreciate that you're actually taking ink to pad and paper, bro, instead of doing everything, digitally like some artists.
Yes.
Not that that's a bad thing, but I mean, this kind of art, is kind of you don't see it much anymore. Yeah, exactly, man. It's dope.
Of the Tuscan warrior's face. Look at her face. Like there's expression there, Vinny. It's really beautiful. And
I love that you basically have the gaffy stick behind her, like behind her back.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Crazy. I love
it.
I'm
definitely gonna try to do a piece for each. And yeah, Mario, I'm a traditional guy. Like I've messed around with digital, and I respect the cats to do it more so the cats who know how to do traditional and then just transfer to that skill set to digital. But I'm an old head. I like feel a pen in my hand or a paintbrush in my hand and having paper. And I'm just that's what I'm used to, and that's the way I'll probably always be. I work
mad with respect, dude. Mad
watercolor and marker and color pencil. That's always and pen and ink. That's always gonna be my jam. So I've messed around with Procreate and stuff like that, and it's fun. And I might still do some of that stuff, but I'll never stop doing the other kind of stuff I do for sure. That's my jam. Yeah, but I definitely have like goal to try to get a piece from each ep. So I'm trying to do Yeah, so I'm trying to do a few more. I'm a little behind now because of snow removal and stuff like that, but I plan to catch up this week. And Duke of Santon, I have I have some other stuff that I want to do for the show too. And so I'm trying to get some Boba Fett stuff done and bumped up ahead of the list of stuff I had planned to do this winter for sure.
You considering selling any of these pieces?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everybody's like, you selling them.
My website is on my IG page. So if you go to Vincent Dunn Art, there's a link to my store, MV store.
Yeah.
And this piece isn't on there yet because I just completed it, but it absolutely will be available for print. So if you're on the show, if you're in the chat and you want any of these pieces, the prices on the website, disregard them. Just message my IG, and then I'll make sure you get them for cheaper because you're fans of the show.
Definitely. See? Come on, man. Straight up.
Yeah,
That's your answer. So you got your answer, definitely. So if you haven't
appreciate
already,
that, I Am Legend. I got
Yeah.
you. You hit me up, and I'll take care of you.
Definitely. If you haven't already followed Vincent Dunn Art on Instagram, definitely is some dope stuff over there. And like I said, you'll see some dope pieces in the store. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the 16 Scale Man YouTube channel, Twitter and Instagram. Again, great substance content that we actually have over here. Again, every Thursday night, Uncivilized Scoundrels with these guys. I'm telling you, like, it's crazy. Can't wait to have CC3PO back next week. It's like, it's just feel better, get back with us because it's like a missing piece. So yeah, definitely here. Sunday we will have Take Your Position, where we will actually be posing up the mighty Thor himself. So yes, we'll actually have that. So stay tuned. And a comic book talk with friends, of course, on
Mondays.
So yeah, definitely subscribe to that. Or be there for that as well. And we have Figure Talk, Say What on Wednesdays, as always. So yeah, just if you haven't, hit that like button, subscribe, and share to everybody on this channel. We try to bring you nothing but the best. I don't know why I keep having Vinny single there for a long time.
I was gonna say, that's really amazing.
I was
just like, but somebody's talking.
I was about to find some other art and put it up. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I just had him single for a while. I was like, damn, what the hell? Everybody in the chat, should have said something anyway. Anyway, guys, again, everybody on the chat, thank you for actually coming through. Tom Jr. Jackson, Joey Dahl, Absolute Irwin, Docinator, Michael May. Hold on.
There we go. Don't forget now.
Come on, man.
Yep.
I gotta.
Yeah, don't let him ever get away with it if I'm not here, Mario.
I got you, Vinny.
All right.
I got you, my guy.
Man, straight up, get on my damn nerves, man. Y'all just need to leave me alone. Hold on. Where's it at? I mean, come on, man.
I see Tom Jr. Jackson. I see Jody.
Wrong one.
Yo.
Wrong one. That's hold on, let me see. I had it here a second ago. Where did it go? Oh man, it's hold on. I'm not going to go. I can't go until this is done, guys. So just
I tried Vinny, but apparently he can't find it now. So
no, I can find it. It's there. Vinny's not going to let me off the hook. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm actually going to get it. Like, he's not going to let me off the hook until I actually find this.
I just resent it to him because, he ain't getting off the hook.
He puts so much precious time and effort into, like, making this thing a piece. So
yes, Tom, this romper room has to be a thing, man. Everybody in the chat, if Vinny and I aren't here, everyone else watching, please don't let him get away without doing it for every shout out at the end of his shows, man. Y'all got to make him do this romper room thing.
Everyone in Leo's show has to end with Rockwell Room.
Boom.
There it is.
Let's go.
Anyway, Jason Coughlin, thank you for coming through. Mr. JB, thank you for coming through. Tobar, Mark 7, Tom Jr. Jackson, Tobar, one OG fan with Star Wars was just Star Wars. The Ben Cave, Racy, Pedro Lopez. Let's see here. I hate Vinny, man. Absolute Irwin, Docinator, man. Michael May. Let's see here. Bob Dylan is in the building. I Am Legend 0000. Let's see here. Latoya T, thank you for coming through. She was a songwriter. Tom, let me see. CC3PL, get better. DK, Bob Dylan. Professor, although he's on his actual show. Joey Doll. Let me see here. We got Braden, thank you for coming through. And shout out to you, mate. Let's see here. RJ Bunnell, thank you for being here and your great insight. Bugman, thank you for being here. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Cold Pizza. Every time I say that name, I get hungry. Thank you for coming through. Let's see here. Who else we got? Malachi Mabane. Thank you for being here. Soul Nightmare. Thank you for definitely being here. It's been a good show. Let's see here. Six Scale Mafia. Thank you for coming through. Six Scale
Anthony.
Reviews.
What up,
Thank
Anthony?
you for being here.
Dan and Dre.
Yeah, Dan and Dre, always. Dre, I want my Dan rematch. Let me see here. Yeah, like let's see. Anybody else? Did I miss everybody? Did I get everybody in here? Luminar, I think she was actually here. Luminar, thank you for coming through. Let's see here. Just want to make sure I got everybody. Negan X Army, thank you for coming through here. And yes, we have everybody, I think, so far. TK592, thank you for being here. And Peter Pacheco, thank you for coming through. It's been a pleasure. Again, guys, it's been a great show. And until next week, same time, you already know what it is, man. Kick it off. Just support the show as always. You know what time it is. Keep it funky. And what do? We stay uncivilized all the time.
May the force be with y'all.
So uncivilized.